Good morning, everybody. I'm Kerwin Charles, the Dean of the Yale School of Management. I welcome you this morning to the Commencement Ceremony for graduates of the Masters in Public Education Management program at Yale SOM. I would like to extend a special welcome and thanks to the families and friends of our graduates who are here with us today. Let me also thank on your behalf the faculty members here who have taught in our program. I also extend thanks to the incredible staff at TBC at SOM and the other staff members of the school, whose attention and hard work made your time here productive and enjoyable. I'm joined on stage by Professors Heidi Brooks and Richard Lemons, faculty marshals selected by last year's graduating class for the excellence of their teaching. Natasha Trivers, the new Anita and Joshua Beckenstein ADBA Executive Director of the Broad Center at SOM, also joins me on stage. Yeah. Natasha is herself an alum of the Broad Fellowship at Yale SOM. Yeah. And finally, Pedro Martinez, whom I will introduce shortly for his keynote address. Our commencement ceremony today celebrates the achievements of a remarkable cohort of 29 education leaders from across the country. Some of you come to us from major public school districts: Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, New York City, Washington, D.C., Philly, among others. Others of you represent charter networks, including KIPP, with 5 regions represented among you, Mastery, Idea Public Schools, and many more. Still others come from government agencies from states across the country. Over the last year, you have been vital members of our community, bringing energy and purpose and insight not only to your coursework, but to the life of the school as a whole. As you know, ours is a school of management dedicated to the goal of educating leaders who will be impactful in business and in various spheres of society more broadly. From its very founding, it has been understood that the sphere of education is an especially important sphere to which we hope some of our graduates would address themselves, as you will be doing. You are therefore the embodiment, the very embodiment, of the school's essential mission and values. You all recognize that preparing education leaders to enable them to successfully navigate the various pressing challenges they confront so that the country can discharge the essential function of educating its young has never been a more pressingly urgent concern. You've embraced this work with enthusiasm, energy, vigor, commitment. It has been a delight to have you among us, and we will miss you. Today, you join a large and active community. Really, 2 communities, the Broad and the SOM communities, We're thrilled to have you as a part of this network, as a part of our family now and forever. I know you'll do us proud. It is my happy obligation now to introduce our keynote speaker. Commissioner Pedro Martinez became the 25th leader of the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education on July 1st, 2025, the first Latino to hold this role. Born in Mexico and raised in Chicago, and the oldest of 12 children, he was the first in his family to graduate from high school and college. He has previously served as Chief Financial Officer and CEO of Chicago Public Schools, and brings over 20 years of experience in education leadership, including 12 years as superintendent of the San Antonio Independent School District. Please join me in enthusiastically welcoming Commissioner Pedro Martinez.
Thank you, Dean Charles, and everybody, please join me in congratulating the class of 2025. And class, I want you to join me in really thanking the amazing family members, friends that you have here, because I can see all of you. And it takes my breath away, because it's a reminder to all of us as leaders that you never do it alone. And in fact, I would argue that the most impactful leaders, it is because of the people that are around them. The families, the friends, the confidants, the ones that, when something's going bad in our world, we go to you. So please, guys, let's thank your family members and your friends that are here. As Dean Charles said, my name is Pedro Martinez. I am honored to be the 25th commissioner in the state of Massachusetts, or we call it the Commonwealth. And it's an interesting time, but I'm brand new, barely in the second month, just finishing a 4-year tenure as the leader of the Chicago Public Schools, the 4th largest district in the country, 325,000 students. More importantly, my hometown and the district that grew me, the teachers that made me. And so a little bit more of that. As Dean Charles said, I'm the oldest of 12, born in Mexico. My father brought us when I was 5 years old, and we grew up in poverty. I will tell you, it's not, especially my upbringing was not a happy story in terms of, we struggled, 2-bedroom apartment, eventually good Catholic family, 12 of us, 10 of us still alive. And, as a student, I was below grade level most of my academic path. In fact, it was a teacher, Mr. Asher, in 6th grade, that was the first teacher that actually really told me that I was below grade level. And by the way, this is the 1970s for the parents and grandparents in the room, whereas teachers could do stuff that they can't do today, right? And so, tough love. By the way, always with my parents' permission, right? That's how teachers work. And so, but because of him and his tough love, I was able to graduate not only at level, but even above level, specifically in math. And that allowed me to get into honors classes in my junior high, in my high school, and be the first in my family to finish high school and to graduate college. Now, what I didn't know at that time was that all my sisters were watching and all my brothers were watching. And so, fast forward, all of my siblings have finished some type of post-secondary education. By the way, different paths. 3 teachers in the family, even today, they're teaching in the Chicago Public Schools, kindergarten, middle school, and high school, 14 to 20-year veterans. I have a brother who joined the military and went and did actually 2 tours in Iraq. It was right after 9/11, everybody, and he just felt like that's what he needed to do. Came back and finished his education. There's a nurse in my family. But the common thread across all my siblings, all of us are dedicated to giving back. All of us, always remember humble beginnings because that's how our parents raised us. And so, I was telling our class yesterday that it's so important as a leader that we really, really both appreciate and reflect on our lived experiences. Because I believe that when we do that, that is actually when we are at our best. That is actually when we start thinking about, we really can solve the problems. And I'll just give some examples for our class. So in my high school, there was no advanced placement classes. So I graduated near the top of my class, started in college at the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana, and met students who were way advanced from me because they already had taken college classes. And I just remember being so upset and said, wait a minute, I was one of the good students. Like, what happened, right? What happened there? And so it's not a coincidence that in every district that I've led, in Northern Nevada, in San Antonio, and in Chicago, always have led those organizations with record levels of numbers of students in college-bearing courses. So for example, in Chicago, in my last year, 6,600 seniors were in college classes where they were in high school. By the way, record number of students getting associate degrees while they were in high school. So remember class, make that connection, right? Why? Because of my own lived experience and what I saw. It's not a coincidence that in San Antonio, students, had never left their neighborhoods. They never explored. And so, when I was in high school, the only college that I ever got exposed to was the University of Illinois. And so that was like, that's where I'm going to go. By the way, the good thing is I loved it, but I'm like, that's where I'm going to go. Never knew of a Yale, never knew of any other institution. Not a coincidence that in San Antonio, I partnered with a wonderful leader of a company and a foundation that allowed us to send children all over the country to the, the West Coast and the Midwest and the East Coast. And we would send them, by the way, during the winters, because we said, look, San Antonio, if anybody's lived in Texas, the weather is pretty warm. I said, so you got to know what it means to be in the winter, in the New England area or in the Midwest, like my hometown of Chicago, as well as explore the West Coast, right? One quick story, I had a young lady who I met as an 8th grader, because I was 7 years as a superintendent in San Antonio, and I met an 8th grader, Maria, and her dream was to go to MIT. She loved engineering. So fast forward, she's a senior, and we help her get into MIT. And then I get a call from the principal, frantically saying, Superintendent, her mother will not let Maria go. And I thought, okay, all right, now I gotta pull all the stops, right? So I know they're Catholic. Who's the priest, right? No, we don't mess around here, right? So who's the priest? My wife is the youngest of 5, the first to be able to, to go to college, go away for college. She went to Williams in Massachusetts. And her mother cried when she left, but I'm like, I'm gonna get my mother-in-law involved, right? Because she lived through that experience, right? And then, it was interesting when we actually talked to Maria's mother. Her fear was, first of all, their income was under $15,000 a year. Their home had a dirt floor. This is San Antonio, everybody, right? And I'm thinking, this is the U.S. This is not Mexico. This is San Antonio. Maria was the oldest girl, and the mom was chronically ill, and she said, who's going to take care of me? Her brothers are not going to take care of me. And so we had a really, really strong conversation with her. Long story short, Maria was able to go to MIT. And while I was the superintendent in Chicago, I got to see her virtually graduate out of MIT. So again, class, think about how your lived experience shapes you, right? There was no way that I was gonna let Maria have her dream, right? Because at 8th grade, she knew what she wanted to do, and you better believe it, if I'm in a position of power, I was gonna make sure she had her dream. It's not a coincidence, so when I was a college student, I was a student that was in the financial aid office every single week. It was like, what do you got for me? What scholarships? I'll work, I'll do part-time jobs. Because I was always worried about money because my parents were poor. My father never made more than $15,000 a year working 2 jobs all of his life. I was the oldest. There was no backup plan. There was no 529 account, none of that, right? So I was always in the scholarship office, and there was a counselor, Andres Garza, who literally was my savior. He helped me line up scholarships because he didn't want me to work. He didn't want me to work too much because he wanted me to focus on my grades. But he helped me because, again, first-generation student. Not a coincidence, class, that, as I left Chicago, every year, the students broke records in scholarships. By the way, $2 billion plus Every single year. Why? Because I didn't want our students to have that same pressure. And I would always tell our students, as long as you do the work, as long as you get into the dream school that you want to get into, if that's what you want, I want to make sure that money does not become the barrier. And so the theme back, class, is as leaders, I want you to always remember, your origin story. I want you to embrace your identity. Because again, start thinking about the challenges that you had. Think about the challenges that your colleagues had growing up. And then you get to be in these roles that you actually get to make changes. Like, embrace that. Think about that for a second. You get to actually make changes to large systems. I'm an alumni of the Broad program from 2009, but I'm an inner city kid from Chicago, and I'm here at Yale. I mean, really? I mean, imagine, I think about Mr. Asher, God rest his soul, and so I always say this to our teachers and counselors. They are the most powerful beings in our society because they can help our children see a future that those children can't see. And as leaders, we get to create those conditions. We get to create the environment to empower those powerful beings, because that's what they need, right? And we model that behavior. So you are joining, class, an amazing network, because I will tell you, Broad has been such a big part of my leadership journey the whole time. By the way, good and bad times, always there for me. More importantly, the relationships that you have now, you now have leaders who also have the same aspirations you do, to make an impact, to really continue to build on the systems that we have, so that every single student, regardless of their conditions at home, regardless of their challenges, that they have an opportunity to benefit from our amazing nation's wealth, our amazing economy, our amazing set of opportunities, the amazing higher ed institutions that exist. So to conclude, everyone, class of 2025, the question I'm going to leave with you is, you are blessed now, and this is still a journey. By the way, for most of you, very early in your journey, because I remember this journey in 2009, right? So it's very early in your journey. And my question to you is, how are you going to lean into your lived experiences? How is that going to make you a better leader? How are you going to lean into the complexities of our wonderful, wonderful challenges that exist? I mean, challenges in terms of children with poverty, children that have a lot of struggles. How are you going to lean into that to make the impact so that, and I have so many stories, everybody, but to make the impact so that the Marias that you come across, the Pedros that you come across, all of these amazing students that have the potential and have the ability to dream, and by the way, have this wonderful set of support systems around them, right? Because it's family, it's community. How are you as a leader going to make the biggest impact that you can? Because you have that blessing that you are going to be on that journey, and you're going to have the ability to do that. Again, everybody, please join me in congratulating the class of 2025.
We are now very, very pleased to welcome up Jessica Gray, the first TBM student speaker.
Let's go!
Good morning, family, friends, and faculty. And good morning to the Broad Masters at the Yale School of Management, class of 2025. My name is Jessica Gray, and it is such an honor to stand here and represent my cohort on such an important milestone. When I started the Broad Masters program, I saw it as an opportunity to deepen my work in public education and work toward a more equitable future for students. I also thought of it as an extension of my professional life, a very timely and logical step on my career path. But I received so much more during my time here, and I believe that many of you share that sentiment. What I found was community, thoughtful, passionate, humble. I watched each of us show up open, vulnerable, curious. We listened as we shared our leadership stories, stories of resilience, of joy, of growth and hope, discovery, stories with chapters that are still unfolding. Many of us arrived to Yale's campus unsure of what to expect, wrestling with imposter syndrome, wondering how we made it through the filter. And then over time, something shifted. We started to feel like we were exactly where we were supposed to be in this moment with this group of people. We've been through so much together over this past year and change, debating over how we are going to survive a plane crash in the desert, celebrating each other after a promotion or other win at work, supporting each other through major life events, meeting each other's families, pets, significant others, friends, some tears, warm hugs, lots of laughter, connecting with fellow Brodies and fireside chats with Katina, ending each day with Professor Dunson's mind-opening writing prompts, exploring everyday leadership with Dr. Brooks, passionate debates on policymaking with Richard and Shauna at the helm, facing the harsh realities of how disparities in public education began with Matthew Kincaid, and being reminded why we need to stay locked in, showing off our impressive karaoke skills, giving each other advice on how to set boundaries at work, or how to draft an email that is professional but still shows that you are standing on business, wellness checks via text and phone calls, helping each other keep up with deadlines and work through some challenging spreadsheets, rushing to finish our feedback surveys on time, sorry Emma, planning an amazing Spirit Week because we are truly an iconic cohort. You all inspire me, and I know you will continue to inspire others in every space you enter. David, Hansel, Emma, Monica, thank you for crafting this truly special experience. We're still not convinced it's not a social experiment. Thank you for investing your time and energy and care and intention into us. There are so many others I would love to shout out, but I hope that everyone that has a hand in this program knows what a blessing you have been. To my dear cohort and friends, as we prepare to wrap up this program, I hope you carry a few simple reminders with you. One, you have what it takes, so trust yourself. During my time here, I am grateful that I was given the opportunity to find more confidence in my own leadership style and voice. All of us here, we are leaders. You are not alone. Remember, we have each other to lean on. The connection we built does not have to end here. And three, your voice has value. Let's not say we came here to find our voices. We arrived with instruments that were already powerful. We simply learned how to fine-tune their sound. We were given a safe space to practice and ask questions so that we could show up in our full light as the leaders our organizations and our students need us to be. Use your voice to advocate, to challenge, to change. Public education is hard work. It can stretch you, bend you, and there can be moments when you want to break. So this is also a reminder to not lose yourself in this journey. Before I go, I'd like to invite you all to join me in a short meditation of gratitude. You may close your eyes if that is comfortable, or you can keep a soft gaze in front of you. And first, take a moment to notice how you feel in your body, how it feels to be in this space. Allow memories of this journey to flow through your minds, feeling gratitude for all of the lessons learned. Soak in this moment. Send thanks, appreciation to those who have been there to support you along the way, those who are in this room with us or rooting for us from a distance, honoring those loved ones who are no longer with us and the contributions they made to our lives. Send some gratitude to yourself. May we remember to not just pour out, but also allow ourselves to be poured into. Seeing how we have cared for each other shows me how beautiful it will be when we turn that same energy inward. May this work, our work, not only touch the lives of others, but also sow back into us. May we allow community care to be a form of self-care. May this next chapter be enriching, expansive, enlivening. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and with a gentle sigh, exhale. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes. I love you all so much. I am grateful for each of you. I'm so proud of you, proud of us, and I can't wait to see what we all do next. Remember, we came to Yale already equipped with what we needed. We came here to learn more about the power of our voices and who we are as leaders. We must take that knowledge and move forward to make a meaningful impact for our communities, because what's learned here leaves here. Thank you. I now welcome my cohort mate, Chris Moore.
My goodness, there's a lot of light and love in this room this morning. It's just beautiful. To my cohort, I offer you a final written reflection. I love each and every one of you. 29 lines. 29 of us, the lifelines of us, signs of us, having passed through these spaces where we weren't sure we belonged. 29 fiercely compassionate lines in the sand against tyranny, finding the good trouble that is not only the source code of our mission, but also of more essential questions. Who were you before you came to this place, inhabited this space, and found chosen family? Who were you before opening circle and closing circle and all the spaces in between? This fire that burns here must not stay here. It must leave and light living torches, especially in wavering moments of indecision, when we must press on and lead with the love we lived here in draft form. We arrived here in different spaces, simultaneously unsure and confident. Ready to dig deeper for tender treasures we will bury back home for those we serve to unearth on their own. We shared our brave and sacred stories and the values energizing our spirits. We held bittersweet truths about how we now give to children the gifts that we missed with our younger selves. It was safe here, real here. We wanted to stay here, not on display here, all of us in draft here, without fear, for a powerful moment. We are leaving here humbled, having found deeper connections and uncommon conviction for serving our communities, with more precision in our vision, even as we intuit that it too will yield to the visions of our proteges, for we write on their hearts too. We reside in those tender places where harm is happening and hope doesn't know the secret handshake. We live in the gap, the messy middle, where the meaningful work happens. And if we're doing it right, we carry the shimmering stains of our shared humanity with deep but joyful fatigue and sometimes moral injury. But we are not our harm. We are more vast than the limiting stories that we have been told, that we tell ourselves in still quiet moments when the stakes feel too high and our spirits too fragile, even when they are stronger than we ever imagined them to be. Tell me, who are you on the other side of old stories? Who are you in these new chapters? What sentences are you writing today? Drinking from this deep well, we've each found new stories to tell about being stonecutters. We are stonecutters, striking fossilized relics forged in the fires of others' darkness. There was time when light lived there, before they started telling us who to be, how to be, where to be, when to be, sometimes not to be. But we keep striking that stone because it calls us to something more whole and affirming, back into the light that we might rest in, heal in, bask in, believe in, and then give it away. We now know better how to lead better, imperfectly and not alone, for we have been gathered here in the shelter of each other, where we found our fire and tenderly sharpened our iron, so that we might etch the inalienable rights of every child, carving deep, slow lines of belonging and achievement into generational stone. We choose to transcend and include the fractious noise of our public square, holding the fragile opposition of abandoned truths, yearning for reconciliation. These discordant notes of our time must be harmonized by a ferocious love song sung louder and prouder than the timbre of tyranny. These lines, sung to the end, pausing before, beginning again, the refrain of justice and faith in our inherent capacity for goodness. And respect the gravity of shadows, for they are heavy with unacknowledged truths, even as they are saturated with the poison of resentment that fuels calling others out rather than calling them in. Which wolf will we feed? We aren't all called to the front lines, but that doesn't mean we can't ensure the front lines are always in the front of our minds when we strive to break the ties that bind our babies to limiting futures. Let us be the ones who weave together wholeness and healing, dreaming and becoming, from tired, simple stories of us versus them. Let us truly see others and allow ourselves to be seen. Let us not be the ones easily swayed, digging deeper for the essential truths and a discerning urgency that knows that our limited time is precious and our calls for healing prescient, while our aching worries are sent as love letter reminders that we were here with each other, for a time. And let us be patient with the people we are leading to a new way of being. Let us look into the eyes of our neighbors, attuned to that moment the fog lifts, revealing common ground. That is the core curriculum of our time. Let us gather to rejoice and eat and sing and scheme and rest together. Let us stitch together the frayed fabric of bone-weary souls and inhabit these liberatory garments with the threads of right action. Let us extend whatever compassion and love we can summon, even when it is too much to ask, for it is too great a task, and our task is too great to carry their hate. Let us choose to lift up the good, the true, and the beautiful mess that's all around us. You are beautiful. Let us honor this gift by sculpting sacred spaces back home to pause and reflect, rest and connect, holding that space for ourselves and others twice as long as anyone ever expects us to, because we will love you anyway. We are 29 leaders who embody deep and abiding care for the essential mission of public education, and a belief that there is no greater institutional lever for social justice and equitable human flourishing than the schools where we gather to learn, to heal, to celebrate, and to dream. We will not be the ones who walk away. 29 of us, the lifelines of us. Watch for signs of us, because we're just getting started.
Thank you so much to Jessica and Chris for those powerful words. All right, how's everyone feeling? Good. I'm Natasha Trivers. I'm Assistant Dean and Executive Director of the Broad Center. It's my distinct pleasure to, in a few moments, explain the self-graduation process. But before that, I have a few words for the graduates, if they'll indulge me. I remember my very first teaching assignment. I was 22. It was a standalone public charter high school in Providence, Rhode Island. I started mid-year after giving birth to my eldest son, Kofi. The teaching assignment was an ELA class for overaged, undercredited students with varying reading levels, but most were reading at least 3 grade levels behind. The class was all boys, all Black and brown. We started with the autobiography of Malcolm X. 8 weeks in, we were reading Richard Wright's Native Son and immersed in a mock trial project. Fernie, short for Fernando, was the lead prosecutor in the trial for Bigger Thomas. He had been so animated, so fired up for weeks as he worked to prepare witnesses and get his opening statement finalized. But one day, I noticed he was wearing a scowl on his face. He looked angry, dejected. I assumed something was going on in his personal life that he just couldn't shed before entering the classroom that day. So I waited till the bell rang. I walked with him into the hallway. I pulled him aside and I said, "Fernie, what's wrong? Is everything okay?" And he took a deep breath, looked me right in the eyes and said, "Are you gonna stay?" And I realized that he'd experienced a revolving door of teachers throughout his high school career, but even during that school year in particular. I was the 4th English teacher that taught him in February of that school year. So he wasn't asking me if I was gonna stay in the teaching profession forever. He was asking if I was gonna finish out that school year. And from that moment on, I've always respected the sanctity of a school year. Even when I took this role as executive director, I said to Hansul and to Kerwin, I'll have to finish out my school year first. But I've learned as a public education systems leader that it is about more than just staying. It's about generating excellent academic outcomes for children. It's about setting a strong vision for the future, using data and input from experts closest to the work to inform our decisions. It's about building strong systems that support you as you drive towards excellence for children, listening with empathy, hiring incredible talent, and then developing that talent through culture building, strong performance management systems, and excellent coaching. It's about a lot, right? But it's also about staying. It's about learning and growing in service of your community. And it's about committing and recommitting so many times within a school year and then annually from there. I look out at each of you and I'm in genuine awe of you. And I'm for real. I'm not just gassing you up on your graduation day. I'm in awe of you because you're doing sacred work. Work that doesn't always come with applause or public accolades, but work that has transformational power for young people in this country. To be a public education leader, particularly at this moment in American history, is to say, I believe in the American dream, even when it has often eluded me or the students I educate. To be a public education leader at this moment is to say, I know slavery as an institution had a profound and lasting legacy in this country, right? Y'all are not deniers of history. But I also know that there's a profound and lasting legacy of everyday citizens fighting to dismantle systems of oppression, to disrupt cycles of poverty, to end mass incarceration, to ensure everyone feels seen, heard, valued, and empowered, regardless of gender or sexual orientation. And that fight never ends or shrinks based on who's in the White House or who sits at the helm in the State House. And these everyday citizens don't need to do it with a bullhorn and a pulpit. They can do it by quietly opening the schoolhouse doors every day at 7 a.m., by serving a hot breakfast to 500 students accompanied by warm smiles, by implementing well-researched math curricula, and by observing the instruction of dozens of teachers every week without fail. You are doing sacred work. And if you hear nothing else I say today, please hear this. We need you to stay. If Yale SOM's MBA students are the leaders of business and society, you are the leaders of society. You are the holders of the school experience of our brilliant, brilliant, brilliant young people and their deserving families. You are the leaders of our future. You have an important platform in your school system today. How will you use it? How will you serve young people tomorrow better than you did today? And if there ever comes a time where, try as you might, the conditions that exist in your school system are not conducive to you affecting positive change for young people, then it's your job to find the next role that will allow you to affect that change. That will allow you to widen your impact for children. That will allow you to continue to secure the civil right of a quality public education to every single child you're blessed to work with. And when you do, we will be here at the Broad Center at the Yale School of Management to guide you in all the ways that matter. I look out at you and I see future superintendents, deputy superintendents, chief academic officers, commissioners of education, CEOs. You've worked incredibly hard over 14 months. You've stretched yourselves and gelled as a cohort. I've heard tales that your cohort might be the most special, the best ever. I'm so impressed with each of you and so optimistic about the future because you're here, ready to pick up the mantle and keep fighting for our young people and their futures. You graduate today and you become an alumnus of this esteemed institution, the Yale School of Management. You have rich research resources and an alumni network to lean upon. But you're also doubly rich because you're a Brody for life. You're a member of the Rich Broad Network, an ordained order of sorts. You have power beyond measure, and you're wrapped in love and support as you go after the work that only you can do. I hate to say something as trite as go live out your destiny, but I know you feel it in your bones sitting in those seats. I know I feel it looking out at your faces. So go ahead, manifest your destiny in service of children and all the promise that they hold. Congratulations to the Broad Masters Class of 2025, the best cohort ever. All right, in a moment, the moment you've all been waiting for. But first, I have to explain our self-graduation ceremony because it's very special. And first, I also have to extend some gratitude. I'd like to thank Dean Kerwin Charles for being an extraordinary leader and really embodying the mantra of mission and society in all that he does, but perhaps most especially for treating the Broad Center as his baby and giving it his unwavering support. To the faculty and staff of Yale SOM, you are gentle giants. Thank you for bringing everything you've done, some of you working to even bring the Broad Center to Yale SOM, for supporting the program, for showing such respect for what leaders of public education can do. Special shout out to Seth Zimmerman for partnering great teaching with exceptional research, and he'll continue to do that. Han-Sul Kong, who's in the audience, for embedding the Broad Center so beautifully at Yale SOM, for your mentorship of me and so many others, and for teaching that lovely ethics course to the master's students. To Katina Grays for supporting all the early work in embedding TBC at SOM, for teaching in the master's program, but also for the magic you wield with recruitment, admissions. The cohort is still trying to figure out your secret sauce, like what you're doing, and also for your work with alumni engagement. To the whole TBC team, Jordan, Katie, Johanna, Taylor, Christine, Colleen, Bill Height, and a special thank you to Emma Remsburg, who's done such incredible work. She manages all program logistics, including making sure the ceremony went off without a hitch. And to David Negron, please stand for us, David. Thank you to David for leading the master's program with strategy, with empathy, with love, and with power. All right, that concludes my notes of gratitude, but I'm going to ask the graduates to stay standing. If you're already standing, stay standing. If you weren't standing, please stand. Graduates, please face your families, all the little young ones in the room and the older ones, and just offer them a moment of gratitude for supporting you as you completed this journey. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, another tradition is for the graduating class to really proceed in their own self-graduation for the Master's in Public Education Management degree. Self-graduation is a tradition at the Yale School of Management where graduates announce the names of their classmates in lieu of a more traditional roll call. As the first cohort member comes forward in recognition of their graduation by Dean Charles, the next member will announce the graduate's name. Each graduate will do the same, and we will announce the name of the last graduate. So I now call upon Dean Charles to step forward, and I ask the graduates to please begin the procession.
Christy Brown. Jared Danker.
Malcolm Davis.
Tishelle Eaton.
Sita Nanan Estrada.
Hannah Geyer Rosenkrantz.
Jessica Ashley Gray.
Kimberly Nicole Griffith.
Tina Halliburton.
Cassie Hubbard.
Miles Kilgallen.
David Miranda.
Andre Lawrence Mitchell.
Christopher Paul Moore.
Vanita Trisnell Murray.
Arturo Nagar.
Christopher David Newhouse.
Aaron Nussenbaum.
Connor Buckley Quinn.
Amelia Rosenfeld.
Aaron Slazak Skiri.
Rana Sayed Shariadust.
Gabriela Sierra Sayes.
Justin Montrell Smith. Wanda Denise Smith. Amy Stabile. Kristen Suing.
Megan Bridget Trum.
Megan Williams. Please join Dean Charles and I in congratulating the graduates, the class of 2025 again. Beautiful, beautiful. We are so honored to celebrate each of you today. Congratulations, congratulations to the families. The stage party will now retire, followed by faculty and then graduates, so that we can enjoy lunch together outside. We ask guests to please stay clear of the walkway until the very end. This concludes our ceremony. Congratulations once again to all the graduates.
Thank you.